我不打算再交养老保险了。为啥
I'm
呢？
not
因为
planning
我
to
今
pay for
年年底
pension
的时候
insurance
才交的养
anymore.
老保险，
Why?
到今年
Because I
年
just
底差不
started
多是
paying it
4
at the
年
end
的
of
时间
last
了，
year,
一
and
直
now
以
it's
呢
been
都没有
almost a
再交养老
year.
保险，
I always thought I
交
had to
了
pay
几年
pension
了。那谁
insurance,
知道
but
呢？
a few
前几
days
天
ago,
出
a
了一个
new
新的
policy
政
came
策，
out
说
saying
是
we
最
have to
重的会
retire
进
at
行必修。
65.
那意思就是说，
I'm
我今
40
年
this
40岁
year,
啊，
and
按照
that
说
means
我
if I
四
have
十
to
岁能
retire
进
at
行这个
65,
pension
I'll
的。
need to pay
那
for
我现
another
在在合计
25
哈，一年
years.
来算的
Here
话
in
是7
Hebei,
万
it's
左右。
over
那
10,000
还
yuan
是
a
那还是
month,
在社保
and
不
that's
涨价的
assuming
情况
Social
下，如
Security
果我
costs
身体
don't
健
go
康，活
up.
到80 岁
If I
的话，
stay
我才能
healthy
领
and live
15
to
年的退
80,
休
I'll
金。
only get
那我还
15
要
years
再
of
交24
pension,
年，
but
那
I will
算出
have
来的
paid
算
for
进去算
25
进去了，
years.
这
When you add
20
it
年
all
加起
up,
来总
it's
共
over
是35万
300,000
了。
yuan.
那你说
So,
我
do
还有
you
必要
think it's
再
still
交
worth
吗？再
paying?
往上。
China's economy is weak, unemployment is high, and many people are in financial trouble. Lacking confidence in the future, many have stopped paying Social Security.
我已经不是蛮想
I
接
don't
受
want to
的。
pay Social Security anymore.
现
Many
在
people
很
born
多
after
移民
2000
也
don't want
支
to
持
pay it
房
either.
不
I
支
feel
持
that when I
老
get
人
old,
这
there's
个
a high
政策，
chance that the
并
national
不是
treasury
说
will
在
be in
推。
deficit. For those born in the 90s and 2000s, retirement is 20 to 30 years away. By then, the pension system might well be exhausted. We don't know how the social, corporate, and personal pensions will develop. Growing pessimism about the future has led these young people to stop having kids, stop buying houses, stop spending, and now stop paying Social Security.
I lost my job.
I lost my job too.
I paid Social Security for 6 years.
I paid into it for 9 years.
Now we're both gig workers. To be blunt, we're unemployed.
So we have no income and can't afford to pay Social Security anymore.
We as a couple just don't have the means or ability to pay for Social Security anymore.
Whether you're young or middle-aged, stopping Social Security payments is a serious decision. Social Security is closely linked to buying a house, buying a car, children's education, and medical reimbursements. Its importance cannot be overstated. Recently, a Shenzhen resident had his phone number suddenly blocked. When he tried to unblock it, he was told he needed proof of continuous Social Security payments for the past 6 months. This caused an uproar. On July 15th, a man in Shenzhen posted a video saying that his phone number of 14 years was blocked for no reason. He couldn't understand the Social Security requirement and called it an unreasonable clause. He said that after his phone number was blocked, he contacted Shenzhen China Mobile's customer service. He was told he needed to bring his ID, proof of residence, SIM card, and the latest Social Security information to the office to unlock it. Since he no longer works in Shenzhen, he couldn't provide Shenzhen's Social Security information, and his request to unblock the number was denied. People speculated that Shenzhen Mobile's requirement for proof of Social Security payment might be a tactic to enforce Social Security payments. After the incident was exposed, it sparked widespread discussion online. Netizens questioned, do people who can't afford Social Security or who are unemployed not deserve to use their phones? Under public pressure, Shenzhen Mobile's official WeChat account issued a statement on July 25th claiming the phone was blocked due to fraud risk and stated that they had optimized the rules, no longer requiring Social Security information for verification. In Shenzhen, stopping Social Security payments is becoming more common because the amount to be paid has been rising. From January 1st, 2024, the base payment for Shenzhen's pension insurance increased from 2,360 yuan to 3,523 yuan, a nearly 50% increase. This means individuals face even more pressure to pay. Living costs in Shenzhen are high, and with Social Security payments increasing every year, it's manageable if you have a stable job. However, without one, the combined burden of Social Security and other living costs is overwhelming. Moreover, Social Security is tied to buying a house, buying a car, and children's education, making it even harder to establish a stable life in a major city. China is currently experiencing the most severe economic slowdown in nearly 4 decades, leading to widespread unemployment or insufficient savings. The primary reason young people don't want to pay Social Security is poverty. Recently, a Chinese media outlet interviewed Ms. Tong, who stopped paying Social Security. She used to work in media in Beijing, but quit her job without a backup plan. Due to long-term unemployment and rising Social Security payments in Beijing, she had no choice but to stop paying. Ms. Tong said, Social Security used to symbolize a sense of security for me, but with unstable income, it has become a real burden on my life. Non-Beijing residents cannot pay Social Security as flexible workers, so I found a company online that pays Social Security on my behalf. The total for the 5 insurances and 1 fund is over 2,500 a month, with a service fee of 100 yuan per month. If you pay annually, the service fee is half off, but I refused because I thought I would find a job soon. However, Ms. Tong still hasn't found a satisfactory job. She has become a freelance writer, but the income is very unstable. She said, "My rent in Beijing is 3,000 yuan a month. With utilities, food, and daily expenses, it easily exceeds 10,000 yuan. Because I often don't make ends meet, I decided to stop paying Social Security last July." Another person, Han, bluntly said that he couldn't afford it because he was too poor. Han, who makes a living driving for a ride-hailing service, bought a car in a major city with help from his parents, paying the down payment. He used to work as a warehouse manager, a job that wasn't high-paying but was stress-free. Now, to pay the mortgage, he quit and started driving for a ride-hailing service, working 12 hours a day with only 1 day off per week. When asked about Social Security, he shook his head and said, "I stopped paying." In China, a young person who pays both a mortgage and Social Security is considered strong and wealthy, but such young people are rare. Besides the heavy financial burden, the uncertainty of delayed retirement, extended payment periods, and an imperfect Social Security system have led more people to stop paying Social Security. On July 22nd, news that everyone born after 1990 must retire at 65 spread online, making it the trending topic on Weibo. Although this was later debunked by authoritative media, it reflects the overall policy direction where most people might need to work until 65 to receive a pension. This news sparked widespread discussion. Mr. Li, who works in Shenzhen, told foreign media he had never paid Social Security. He said, "Our salaries are now less than half of what they used to be, but we still have to work to eat and survive." Mr. Li feels very pessimistic about the future. He said, "The economy is in such a bad state, everything is becoming nationalized, private companies are done for. In less than 2 years, maybe even 1 year, I might not even have a job, and I won't be able to survive outside. Ordinary people will end up with nothing sooner than they think." He criticized China's social security system, saying young people's payments are used for current retirees and won't benefit them. Plus, companies already think you're old at 35 and won't hire you. The government wants you to retire at 65. Only the Chinese Communist Party could think this way. Look at the widespread pension and medical insurance gaps everywhere. Ordinary people have no confidence in the system. Mr. Li believes that buying Social Security is supposed to provide a safety net, but since it doesn't, and people are financially strained, they won't pay. He said, "Small illnesses will go untreated, and we don't even think about treating major illnesses. There are many like Mr. Li." Freelancer Mr. Wang said most people stopped paying Social Security because they see the economy declining, and many are unemployed. For unemployed people, paying over 1,000 yuan a month for Social Security is a significant expense. Additionally, young people believe the economy is bad, the legal environment is poor, and the political situation is unstable. Will there even be pensions when they retire? Mr. Wang believes the Social Security funds are being used to cover shortfalls and will eventually go bankrupt. He said, "There's no hope for the future, so many people choose to stop paying." Ms. Wei, in her 30s and working as a programmer at a private company, said the software industry is volatile and layoffs can happen any time. Future retirement policies are uncertain. Delayed retirement is more harmful than beneficial for those working outside the system. If she loses her job, she might get a pension at 55, but if retirement is delayed to 65, it's uncertain. With high living pressures and unhealthy lifestyles, many people get serious illnesses in their 50s and 60s. Ms. Wei also expressed her lack of confidence in China's pension system. She said, "I generally assume that some money will be wasted and don't expect to get much in the end." Ms. Wei gave an example. She said, "Take current medical insurance, for instance. When having a baby, many items are not covered, and over the years, the amount reimbursed by medical insurance has decreased. The Housing Provident Fund also has restrictions. For example, if I want to rent or buy a house, it only provides the amount I contributed that month. If I'm unemployed, I can only withdraw 2,000 to 3,000 yuan a month. Given these limitations, it's uncertain how pensions will be paid in the future." According to the National Bureau of Statistics, by the end of 2021, China had about 200 million flexible workers, a number that continues to rise. Flexible workers are essentially those working gigs. However, only a little over 50 million of them actually pay Social Security, leaving nearly 150 million people who have opted out. Each year, more than 40 million people choose not to pay Social Security, especially those in flexible jobs like food delivery and couriers. In China's Social Security system, these workers must pay the full amount themselves, making Social Security an expensive burden. For instance, a study by the China New Employment Forms Research Center shows that the average monthly salary of delivery drivers nationwide is around 5,000 yuan. In Guangdong, the average is slightly higher at just over 6,000 yuan. With such modest incomes, the 1,700 yuan monthly Social Security payment required in Guangdong becomes a heavy burden. In China, the Social Security payments and benefits vary significantly between provinces and cities. Government employees don't pay for Social Security as the state fully covers their pensions using taxpayers' money, resulting in the highest pension tiers for them. Civil servants can receive monthly pensions ranging from 6,000 to tens of thousands of yuan. In contrast, ordinary workers receive pensions of only 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. Moreover, most elderly people in rural areas do not have access to basic pension protection. Compared to elderly residents in cities, the vast rural elderly population lacks pension coverage and sufficient savings, facing a situation where they have no means to support themselves in old age. In recent years, China's pension system has come under immense pressure, with frequent reports of pension deficits. A report by the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences predicts that the cumulative surplus of the National Urban Employee Basic Pension Insurance Fund will be exhausted by 2035. As the population ages, the ratio of people paying into the pension system to those withdrawing from it reach an alarming 2 to 1. This means 2 workers' pensions contributions will be needed to support 1 retiree. The report indicates that China's pension fund surplus will barely remain positive for a few more years before diving into deficit, with the gap growing larger each year. Including fiscal subsidies, the surplus is expected to turn negative in 2028, with a deficit of 118 billion yuan, reaching a staggering 11.3 trillion yuan by 2050. Without fiscal subsidies, this shortfall will occur even sooner and be even larger. China's current retirement system is based on regulations issued by the State Council in the 1970s. Men retire at 60, white-collar women at 55, and female workers at 50. China's pension system operates on a pay-as-you-go basis, meaning it started with a deficit. With the worsening issues of an aging population and low birth rates, there are more people drawing pensions and fewer workers paying into the system. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, there are nearly 300 million people over the age of 60 in China, accounting for more than 1/5 of the population. By 2035, this number is expected to exceed 400 million, making China the country with the heaviest burden of elderly care in the world. Recently, delayed retirement has become a controversial topic. The Chinese Communist Party's third plenary session on July 21st released a report on comprehensive deepening of reforms, proposing a gradual reform of the statutory retirement age. Foreign media analysis generally views this new policy negatively. Reports quoting experts indicate that China's pension system is already close to bankruptcy and has been sustained by government subsidies. There are concerns about whether pensions can be paid at all, and many people outside the system do not have pension insurance. At this time, pushing for delayed retirement mainly benefits those with privileges within the system. A popular saying on Chinese social media is, "A group of people who don't have to pay for pension insurance are making pension policies, so our retirement is delayed. A group of people enjoying public health care are making healthcare policies, so we can't have universal public health care." Many people believe the current social security system robs the poor to benefit the rich, and fairness is a distant concept. On April 25th, Zhou Xiaochuan, former governor of the People's Bank of China, addressed this issue at the first China Pension Forum. He stated that the pressure of the pension gap is being passed down to the younger generation. Young people, already burdened with supporting both their parents and children, find it difficult to buy houses, get married, or raise children, leading some to give up. From the workers' perspective, when the contribution to Social Security outweighs the benefits, their motivation naturally diminishes. Zhou made it clear that young people's unwillingness to pay Social Security is not their fault, but a flaw in the system design. Over the past 2 years, China's economy has collapsed, and various levels of government are deeply in debt, unable to provide subsidies to the pension system. This could lead to an earlier financial crisis in the pension system. Independent commentator Cai Shen-kun told Voice of America that based on the current ratio of pension income to expenditure, by 2035, the pension system will be unsustainable due to the severe aging problem, which the Chinese authorities did not anticipate. Without measures to fill the pension gap, those born after the 80s may not receive receive pensions. The Chinese government has clearly not understood the severity and urgency of the aging crisis. The main issue is that the job market in China is terrible, and the employment rate is declining. The number of people paying into the pension system is shrinking, while the number of retirees is rapidly increasing, leaving the pension fund in severe deficit. In other words, by 2035, pension funds may already be depleted by the time the oldest millennial males reach retirement age. Aging is like a chronic disease for the economy, with fewer young people working and more elderly needing support, expanding the pension gap and increasing the societal burden. Young people facing difficult lives are less willing to have children, and the elderly are relatively reluctant to consume. This weakens economic vitality, pushing Chinese society into a vicious cycle.